It's an opportunity for us to show solidarity with our Muslim community. It's an opportunity for them to see how much love and compassion there is from New Zealanders and from Wellingtonians for them. So it's going to be a unique opportunity to try and heal some of those wounds, which unfortunately run very deep at the moment.
Thank you for your time. That's Wellington Mayor Justin Lester. A Christchurch woman whose husband and son were killed in Friday's shooting say her family was told New Zealand was the safest country in the world. Khalid Mustafa and his son Hamza were shot as they worshipped at the mosque on Deans Avenue. A second son, Zayed, was also shot and is recovering in Christchurch Hospital. Today his mother, Salwa Mustafa, spoke to Katie Gossett from her vigil at his bedside.
Salwa Mustafa says the family, originally from Syria, spent 5 years in Jordan. They came to New Zealand in July last year as refugees.
When we were asking about New Zealand, what is that New Zealand, what is this country, they said, oh, it's the most safest country in the world, the most wonderful country that you can go. You will start a very wonderful life there. But it wasn't.
Salwa Mustafa first learnt of the incident at the mosque at about 1:45 on Friday, when her older son, Hamza, called her.
He said, Mom, there is someone in the mosque shooting us, and my brother shooted in his leg. I'm telling him, what happened? Who is shooting you? He said, I don't know. And they were running, and after that I heard shooting, and he screamed very loud.
She waited on the line for 22 minutes, and eventually someone took her son's phone and told her he was dead. Salwa Mustafa says her son was a talented horse rider, a polite young man who celebrated his 16th birthday just 2 days before the attacks. A piece of his birthday cake is still in her fridge. And she says her husband Khalid was a good man and a talented and famous farrier in his own country. It was his work that led authorities to offer them a home in New Zealand.
They said, would you like to go to travel to New Zealand as refugees there? And New Zealand chose us to come here, to die here.
Now Salwa Mustafa has a request of her own. She has friends here but is otherwise alone, and she wants help to bring her family here to support her.
Maybe if the government allow my family to come to visit me, to support me in these circumstances, because I'm alone here, I have no family here. It's right that I have friends and I have neighbors, they are very good, but there is no family around me, and my children need someone from the family.
And like many others, she also wants answers to how someone was able to get so many guns and take them into the mosque to cause so much harm. In Christchurch, ko Katie Gossett, aho.
It's 29 minutes past 5 and now with the headlines. Here's Shelley Venning.
The Prime Minister says the first bodies of the victims of the Christchurch terrorist attacks are starting to be returned to their families. The death toll stands at 50 after another body was discovered at the scene. The police have released an unofficial list to the families of those who were killed, but the names won't be released publicly until the bodies are formally identified. All of the bodies have been removed from the mosques on Deans and Linwood Avenues. 34 people remain in hospital, 12 of those in critical condition in intensive care. A 4-year-old girl is still in Starship Hospital. Meanwhile, the Chief Coroner, Judge Deborah Marshall, told media at a news conference that the disaster victim identification process will take the most stringent measures to ensure the right person is returned to their family. She said all of the deceased will have a CT scan, fingerprints scanned and a post-mortem completed.
And we need to interrupt
Again, I want to provide further updates, some of which you'll already be aware of. The first point I want to make is that the very, very important role of returning the victims of this horrendous incident to their loved ones will commence this evening and hopefully will be completed by Wednesday. We have medical forensic staff, we have highly trained police staff, all working to enable the Chief Coroner to have this process commenced and completed as soon as possible out of respect for those loved ones, for their family. The next point I want to make is that tomorrow being Monday, people in Christchurch and across New Zealand will want to return to their lives. It's the role of the New Zealand Police to ensure people are safe to do so. So what will you see tomorrow? You will see a highly visible police presence on the streets, around your businesses, around your schools, and even in the air, right across the country. So you will feel safe to go about what you want to do tomorrow. The last thing I want to clarify is there is some commentary in the public domain about police response times to this incident, this tragic incident on Friday afternoon. I can tell you that within 6 minutes of police being called on 111, within 6 minutes, armed police staff were on the scene. Within 10 minutes, members of our Armed Offenders Squad were on scene. And within 36 minutes, we had that mobile offender in our custody. Thank you. And I will take any questions.
What's the usual response time? How quickly would you expect the AOS to be on scene?
The AOS are a squad that we normally have to call out, so it would be longer than this. So this was a very, very quick response. And I think the people and the public should be assured that we trained for things like this, hoping we never, ever have to respond.
What gun did the accused use? We understand it was an AR-15. Can you confirm?
So that's all part of the ongoing investigation, but I think it's already in the domain that the offender has used a number of firearms, including semi-automatic weaponry.
Do police know who sold the offender his weapons?
We're still working through that process.
We understand that a hunter who visited the gun club that the accused frequently visited had some concerns about extremist behaviours at the club. Were police aware?
That commentary has come to us, and we are exploring that. We will speak to those people. We would anyway, as part of the investigation, and anything that comes to light like that, we will be sharing.
The person said that they brought it to the police's attention at the time. So,
I'm also aware of that, but I'm not aware of whether or not that is actually true. So we're working through that as well. So it's important when we know the answers to that, we share them with you.
How many victims will be returned to their families tonight?
So we hope, I think you heard the Chief Coroner today saying we hope to have at least one of those victims returned tonight, and the process will build momentum. You also heard her say that the most important thing is to ensure that the identifications are done to 100% certainty, and that's what the process will ensure.
And you've spoken about a heightened police presence tomorrow, but what messages of assurance can you give the public as they do return to their lives?
That if we believed there were threats that needed to be managed, we will do so. But at the same time, we will be highly visible on the streets, in neighbourhoods, businesses, schools, places of recreation and sport, and even in the air, to ensure that people can and should go about their lives.
Have more resources been committed then down to Christchurch for that?
Absolutely. We have in excess of 200 extra police staff doing a number of roles. I've been talking to the District Commander, John Price, to ensure that he has every available resource so he can deploy them in a way that makes people feel safe to go about their business.
How long should we expect for something like that amount of resource to be there for?
We'll keep you updated on that.
A member of the Muslim community has, in Christchurch, has sent news hub a video of a man appearing to be a white supremacist. And the community says that he has been harassing them and was arrested after the attack and then released. Are you aware of this?
I'm aware of something that you might be talking about. I think you've got your chronology wrong, if we're thinking about the same thing. And there was a person dealt with some days ago, and they have been posting online, but I think you have your chronology incorrect.
Are we done, everybody?
There was a 50th victim that came out not long ago. How were they missed?
I talked to that this morning. I need to be really sensitive in terms of what's occurred, so I don't want to be descriptive, but there were a number of victims, as you know, at Deans Avenue Mosque. It is understandable how they were missed, amongst others.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your time.
The news has left the community shaken and fearful, but hundreds gathered there this afternoon to show their support for the city's Muslim community. Dunedin's Multi-Ethnic Council President, Paul Gourley, thanked the city and the country on behalf of the community.
You being here represents 100 people for each of you who have outpouring of your love and care for us as community.